This is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. I recently purchased this phone and I've had it for about a month now. This is my full in-depth review. The S24 Ultra is Samsung's latest flagship smartphone which competes against Apple's iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Pixel 9 Pro. The S24 Ultra released back in January this year, so it's been out a while. If we look at the design, we can see that the S24 Ultra features an aluminium body with very kind of square corners. It's quite a big phone. The S24 features a titanium body like the iPhone 15 and 16 Pro series. It has a very kind of boxy design with kind of very square edges, as opposed to what you find on iPhone 16 Pro Max or Pixel 9, which has more curved edges. The device is large, which is noticeable when coming from a smaller handset, like my previous phone, the iPhone 12, or even the OnePlus 8 Pro. The width of the phone is what I found to be most noticeable at 79mm in width. However, a 6.8-inch screen is about normal for big smartphones in 2024. The iPhone 16 Pro Max features an even bigger 6.9-inch screen, and the Pixel 9 Pro also has a 6.8-inch screen. Although the screen is big, the bezels are incredibly slim, which surround the display. At the top of the screen, we find the small hole punch camera. The hole punch camera is noticeably smaller than what you'll find on Apple's 16 Pro Max Island, which means that when you're using the display, there's only a small cutout and you're left with a lot of screen real estate around it, which is better for watching films. The screen is OLED with a maximum resolution of 1440 by 3120, giving it a high PPI of 505 pixels per inch. However, out of the box, the S24 Ultra resolution is set to the resolution of Full HD Plus at 2360 x 1080p. This conserves energy instead of the high resolution at full. If you really want the sharpest image possible, you can set the resolution to the full 3120 by 1440p at the expense of shorter battery life and higher power consumption. The display, as you would expect for a flagship smartphone, is 120Hz, which makes scrolling through the home screen and your favorite apps such as Instagram or YouTube buttery smooth. The screen is also protected by Corning Gorilla Armor Glass, which means if you drop the phone outside from a waist high, the phone should not smash. The phone is IP68 dust and water resistant. It comes with a stylus which fits inside the phone and then pops out, allowing you to sign documents. I've used the stylus a lot to create photos and sketches. Although it's very small, it's actually quite fun to use and it slides into the phone when you're not using it. Unlike the Apple Pencil, the S Pen does not support pressure sensitivity or the hardware to track and find your S Pen like Apple does in Find My iPhone. Here you can see some photos that I've drawn using the S Pen. In terms of internal specs, the S24 Ultra is powered by Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset and the Adreno 750 GPU with 12GB of RAM. This means the phone is more than capable of performing everyday simple tasks like scrolling through your Instagram feed, watching YouTube and Netflix with no laggy performance. If you're into gaming on your smartphone, the S24 is a complete beast of a smartphone gaming machine. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset has the power to play demanding titles like Call of Duty, Real Racing 3 or Infinite Flight Simulator with no lagginess, stuttering. Here is Infinite Flight Simulator. You can see that the game is running perfectly smooth. I've played this game for up to an hour and the phone has never struggled to play it at 60 frames per second, despite being a very demanding game. Real Racing 3 is also a pleasure to play on the S24 Ultra. As the screen is quite a boxy aspect ratio, it is really fantastic to play games like Real Racing 3. Furthermore, thanks to the vapor chamber, the S24 in my testing has remained cool and doesn't get warm even after playing Real Racing 3 for 45 minutes, which is remarkable. Samsung says that the vapor chamber inside the S24 Ultra is twice the size of the vapor chamber in the S23, and this has really paid off as the S24 Ultra remains cool even through heavy use. The S24 features an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor which is fast and reliable. The fingerprint sensor also works with the phone turned off, as I'll demonstrate. I found the fingerprint sensor to be fast and reliable. However, there is no Face ID, advanced Face ID sensors like you'll find on iPhone 15 or 16 Pro Max. This means that the hole punch is able to be a lot smaller, as there is no need to have all the additional sensors that are required on Face ID. In terms of software, the S24 Ultra runs Android OS with Samsung's UI over the top. Some people love Samsung UI, One UI, some people hate it. I think it's fantastic. It's simple yet intuitive. My previous Android flagship phone was the OnePlus 8 Pro, which had Oxygen OS. But I would say that the Oxygen OS on my OnePlus 8 Pro was slightly snappier and faster than what you'll find on One UI on Samsung. It just feels like the gestures on One UI are slightly slower than the gestures when navigating through apps and home screens. Of course, it being a Samsung phone, that means it comes with a selection of Samsung pre-installed apps, which most of them I've not used, but some of them are actually usable. We get Samsung Shop, Smart Things, Samsung Browser, Wearable, Pen, Find, Messages, Smart Switch, and Samsung Food. I do find myself using Samsung Food to plan what food I'm going to eat during the week, and it also has a variety of recipes, so you can look up recipes you want to make and then save them in the app. The other app which I've used, Samsung Health. The Samsung Health app is great for tracking your fitness goals and metrics. I put in my weight and my height, and every time I lose or gain a few kilos, I can put it into the calendar and it will show me my weight history across a couple of months, giving me some great statistics to show my doctor or health expert. In terms of cameras, we'll find on the rear there are three main cameras. We've got the main 200 megapixel camera, which is by default set to 12 megapixels with an f1.7 aperture. Then we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide with an f2.2. Then we have two other sensors, a 10 megapixel f2.4 3x optical telephoto lens, and we have a 50 megapixel f3.4 periscope telephoto with 5x optical zoom. The S24 Ultra takes some stunning images with great contrast and the kind of Samsung classic high contrast sharpened images. Sometimes after taking a photo, when you view the photo just after taking it in the gallery, the phone takes a few seconds to optimize the image, which suggests that a lot of after editing is done after the photo is taken to make it look almost as if it's been edited post. The ultra wide also takes nice looking photos with a nice wide field of view. The telephoto lens is probably the S24 Ultra's party piece and allows you to zoom up to 100 times digital zoom. However, I wouldn't recommend using 100 times digital, as the quality starts to diminish at this level. The S24 Ultra has an advertised 200 megapixel camera. I would suggest leaving it in the default 12 megapixel camera mode, as the 200 megapixel photo mode only looks good in extremely good lighting. The video quality on the S24 Ultra is also very impressive. The S24 Ultra shoots at a maximum of 8K 60 FPS, making it future-proof. However, most people don't own an 8K display or 8K TV yet, for the time being, although I expect 8K TVs and monitors will be rolling out in the next few years and 8K may become the standard soon. The image stabilization is incredibly smooth, giving more expensive DSLRs a run for their money. Although, when it comes to taking video, the iPhone 15 Pro or 16 Pro Max is probably the king when it comes to overall video quality. When taking a video, you can switch between the rear lenses, like changing the focal length on a DSLR telephoto lens. I find myself using it when going to events like a football match or Formula 1 to take those zoomed videos using the optical lens. On the front of the S24 Ultra we'll find the 12 megapixel sensor with f2.2 featuring HDR10+, which can shoot up to 6K, which can shoot up to 4K 60 frames per second. It's more than sufficient for taking selfies with your friends and for uploading to Instagram. The S24 features a 5000 mAh battery to power the phone, which should get you through the day unless you're a heavy user. In my usage, I've averaged screen on between 7 and 8 hours depending on how heavy I'm using the phone. With average use, checking Instagram, watching YouTube, playing a few games like Real Racing 3 and taking some photos, you'll find that the phone can last easily a whole day. I'd recommend leaving the brightness on at about 40% as the screen can get incredibly bright. But obviously the brighter the screen, the more battery you're going to use. So I'd recommend leaving the screen brightness at about 40%, which should be bright enough to use inside and outside. The phone charge is wired up to 45 watts via USB-C, which should charge the phone in around 2 hours. It supports wireless charging up to 15 watts, which will take around 4 hours. When compared to other phones like the OnePlus 12, which features a higher watt charging, that phone charges a lot quicker due to the higher wattage socket that comes with the phone, and OnePlus is fast charging. So if you want a phone that will charge really quickly, then I would suggest looking at the OnePlus 12, as their fast charging technology is more advanced than Samsung's. In terms of other features that come with the S24 Ultra, Samsung's loved and hated Bixby voice assistant is the main voice assistant which comes with the phone, which definitely leaves some work to be desired. It's definitely not as good as Google's Assistant or Apple's Assistant, and I find myself never using it. Instead, I just use Google Assistant or Alexa. Finally, we come to the models and prices available for getting the S24 Ultra. The phone did come out back in January, and when it launched, there were a selection of different colours, including titanium blue, orange, green, yellow, grey, black and violet. Then there are 3 storage options, which include 256GB, 512GB and 1TB. In terms of competition, the S24 Ultra competes against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the OnePlus 12 and the newly released Pixel 9 Pro XL. What sets apart the S24 Ultra from perhaps the Pixel 9 is the boxy design, which I thought I wouldn't like, but actually I really love it, as it means that there is more screen real estate for watching films, which is better. The S24 Ultra comes in at a premium hefty price tag of £1,200, which is around the same price as getting an iPhone 16 Pro Max or the new Pixel 9 Pro, which is about what you'd expect for a 2024 Pro-sized flagship. I would argue that the S24 Ultra is the best Android smartphone that you can buy currently right now. If you're definitely an Android user and you don't want to step into the iPhone world, or you're not a fan of iOS, then I would thoroughly recommend buying the S24 Ultra. In conclusion, the S24 Ultra is arguably one of the best smartphones, if not the best smartphone currently available to buy. It features a beautiful OLED 6.8-inch screen, a really high quality titanium boxy robust design, and it's got a fantastic set of cameras. We've got the telephoto lens, which is the best in class for taking photos at distance. It's got a great ultra and 200 megapixel main camera, and it's amazing to game on thanks to the new vapor chamber, which means that the phone stays cool. Thanks for watching, and that's been it. Cheers!
Jamendo.com